Hi there, Rowan Kisson here, Senior Solutions Engineer at Slack. And today I want to talk to you about how Slack drives value for hundreds of thousands of developers around the world. This session is for every developer or person that is interested in the work of developers and are already familiar with Slack. We are going deeper into demos for specific developer use cases and developer integrations such as the Escalation bot. In our demo, you will learn how our own developers at Slack are using Slack, and we will also share a customer use case with you at the end. To start, a short reminder of what Slack is. Slack is designed to meet the needs of in-office, remote, and hybrid employees alike. Slack is the system of engagement for modern work. It's the one application that can be installed across every device of every employee. It provides just as much utility to your engineering team as it does to your sales team and every team in between. It creates a shared layer of engagement across the entire organization and eliminates the costly silos that can be a drag on productivity and collaboration. So, how is Slack used by development teams specifically, and why do so many developers love Slack? Let's get started by talking about tools. A few years ago, I made the move to London. I got to my new apartment with my 2 suitcases and found myself in a situation where I needed a screwdriver, without actually having one in the house. I tried a couple of options to tighten a flathead screw, searching my apartment for any thin, firm, and flat objects I could find. Initially, I used the tab of a soft drink can, but the leading solution at the time ended up being the edge of a butter knife. Look, it temporarily got the job done. The flathead screw was nearly tightened. I wouldn't say my overnight handyman skills made it completely secure though. Of course, they weren't the most flattering use of these objects. At one point, I actually changed the structure of one of my butter knives, and let's just say it could never be used on a block of butter anymore. So what's the point here? After trying many options to getting the job done, the next day I ended up going to the hardware store and picking up a screwdriver set. It was pretty clear that having the right tool for the right job made all the difference. So as a conclusion, most jobs are so much easier when you have the right tool. And that's true with software development too. You have a bunch of skilled developers who want to move as fast as possible, but they get bogged down with tools that aren't optimized for the job that they're trying to do, like the butter knife. And eventually, that takes a toll on both their productivity and morale. But when you provide your engineers with the right tools, you get a more engaged team working at a much faster pace. Earlier this year, McKinsey studied hundreds of businesses to find out what conditions led to high developer velocity. They identified tools as having the greatest impact on developer velocity because the right tools remove friction, increase innovation, and empower developers to do their best work. And improvements to developer velocity are paying off in business outcomes. In the same study, companies who are in the top quartile of developer velocity are also 55% more innovative than the bottom quartile, and they achieve 5 times performance compared to their peers in the market. So having the right tools has a massive impact. Let's look deeper on what that means at Slack. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I'd like to share with you 3 ways that we use Slack internally to accelerate developer velocity and minimize downtime. We will start by looking at improving service reliability. Discover, resolve, and get to the bottom of what caused incidents faster by making sure urgent alerts reach the right people. Response teams have a central place to triage, and historical records for post-incident analysis are documented using Slack channels and integrations with your existing incident management tools. Sounds good? So let's see what this looks like in action. For companies relying purely on email and phone bridges, incident response can be painful. Each time someone new joins the incident, they start without an understanding of what already has been done. Time is spent bringing people up to speed, which disrupts the conversation and slows down the response. Let's see how this works in Slack. Using the incident PDE command, I can pull up the incident bot to help. First, let's take a look at some of the things Incident Bot can help with. First of all, if I'm new to using Incident Bot, I've got a link to the FAQ document right at the top. I can also generate a link to that document from anywhere in Slack using the /go instant bot FAQ command. Next, I have a couple of ways to launch an incident response channel. I can either create a new channel or I can convert an existing channel, and we'll come back to these options shortly. Finally, I have some commands to manage an incident. I can set an incident commander, set a severity, or create or post an update report all directly within Slack. Let's imagine I need to launch a new incident, and I'll do that by clicking on the New button at the top. From here, I'll be prompted to provide a brief summary of the incident. A severity level, and finally an incident commander. In this case, I'll select myself. As soon as I click Create, the incident bot will get to work automating the initial steps of our incident response process, providing me updates in channel as it does so. I can see that it's created a new ticket in Jira, which is our system of record, and it's also created a dedicated Slack channel named after the incident and invited the interested parties into the channel. Let's take a look at that channel by clicking on the link here. As well as creating a dedicated channel and inviting in interested parties, Incident Bot also shares all resources the incident commander and the response team might need in order to resolve that incident. And you can see here the FAQs, checklists, and definitions of severity levels are listed. A Zoom meeting is spun up for voice and video if necessary, but the channel is where most of that discussion takes place. That way, as new responders join the incident, they can bring themselves up to speed on what's already happened. Having all of this activity documented in the channel also massively speeds up the process of preparing postmortems. So in summary, by centralizing and automating communications, Slack can improve response times and overall service reliability. Now that we are familiar with improving service reliability, let's look at what it means to ship quality code faster. Moving from planning to coding in record time and deliver high-quality products faster than the competition is on every developer's mind. By bringing your tech teams together in Slack channels and integrating all of your existing tools with the Slack platform, that is possible, without the risk to miss a key factor of quality. What does that mean? Let's have a look at this in action. A key factor of quality is security, but all too often, security is considered too late in the development process. With pressure to get the features shipped, the risk is that teams miss an important consideration. Let's see how Slack can help. Imagine I'm working on a project and I want to make sure that I'm following best practices in terms of product security. Using the /SDL command, SDL standing for Secure Development Lifecycle, I can pull up the SDL bot to help. First of all, the bot lets me know that there's some information about my project that I have firsthand before I proceed. That includes my project's Jira epic, a link to the technical spec, and the proposed internal launch date. The bot also signposts me to helpful resources related to the secure development lifecycle process. They include the product security teams channel, their office hours, along with a training course in Continue, our learning management system. And finally, the bot lets me know how it can help. Once I've provided some inputs, it will create a Jira ticket for the security team to review and also provide me with a checklist of security best practices customized to my particular project. To kick things off, I'll click on the Let's Go button. From here, I'll be prompted to input some information around the project, like the name, a link to the Jira epic, a link to the technical spec, as well as the project channel, a link to the code in GitHub, a description of the feature, an internal launch date, the security risk, in this case could be low, medium, or high, as well as any specific questions I would like answered by our product security team. Next, I'll be prompted to choose which components apply to my project. And for the purposes of this demo, we're showing a couple of components, but in our production app, we'd have all sorts of front-end and back-end components listed here. To choose a component, I just click on the button on the right-hand side. And once I've done, I click on Submit. Finally, I can review all of the information I've already entered and optionally edit any field if needed. But in this case, I'll go ahead and click Submit. Once that's done, a couple of things happen. Firstly, a Jira ticket is created and assigned to the product security team for review. Secondly, a confirmation message is sent to the channel, which includes a link to the customized security checklist, which has been generated for my project. Because the confirmation is sent to channel, the rest of the team are kept up to date. By allowing developers to quickly and easily generate checklists from where they're already working, SDLBot ensures developers can ship quality code without compromising on speed. So far, so good. Let's come to the last way of how we use Slack internally to accelerate developer velocity and minimize downtime. It's about keeping teams productive and engaged. Imagine you can make it easier for your engineers to spend time focused on high-value work instead of losing time switching tools and finding the people that are responsible. How? Let's take a look in action. As codebases and the organizations supporting them become larger and more complex, it can be difficult to keep track of who's responsible for what. Imagine I'm working on a feature which will make use of our file upload service. I'd like to understand a bit more about the service I'm going to be working with, but I'm not sure which team internally is responsible for it. Using the /escalate command, I can pull up the Escalation bot to help. Now, we can use the Escalation bot for all kinds of things. At the bottom here, you can see I can report a bug, which will create a Jira ticket and share it in the relevant team's Slack channel. I can page an engineer that's on call for a particular service, or even declare a major incident and summon the major incident response team. For our scenario though, I'm going to use the Find Owner button here at the top. Now I'll be prompted to describe the information that I'm looking to find more information on. So I'll type file uploads. Next, I'm shown a list of services that have been pulled from our service catalog that match my search. In our case, there are 3 services, all 3 owned by the same team, interop files. For each of the results, I can see a service name, a description, as well as a button. If none of these results look right, I can ask in the Please Service Ownership channel to get an answer from a human. Once I've got the answer there, I can click on Choose a Different Service and let the Escalation bot know for next time. But in our case, it looks like the first result, File Uploads, is the service I'm looking for. So I'll go ahead and click the button. Now, I'm presented with all the information I might need about the service, including the team that owns it, their Slack channels, their Jira projects, and more. I can even page an engineer that's on call for this particular service using the button at the bottom. By allowing our developers to query our service catalog directly from Slack, where they're already working, our Escalation bot reduces time spent on context switching, which in turn improves productivity. And for our thousands of customers across the globe, Slack is the right tool for quickly resolving incidents, shipping code faster, and keeping your talent happy. And here is how a regional customer is using Slack for software development. Vodafone is one of the world's largest telecom providers, and to monitor and escalate customer-facing events, their team rely on the PagerDuty integration for Slack. When an incident occurs in a production environment, the integration notifies the right team, right down to the individual, within milliseconds, and all within Slack. This dramatically reduces the mean time to resolution by contacting and alerting the right person at exactly the right time. Before Slack, it would have taken 15 to 20 minutes to resolve the issue, but they've reduced that to under 5. Slack also offers Vodafone executives visibility into new workflows, which ultimately results in a far better product faster. I hope you enjoy the deep dive into how developers use Slack and agree to the fact that I initially highlighted that using the right tool makes all the difference. When you adopt Slack, you'll be joining thousands of other companies who have not only transformed their dev operations, but the culture and results of their entire organization. Thank you for listening today.